How's everyone doing? This is Mr. Nolan, and I'm here with your 9A notes on the growth of the Catholic Church in Europe. All right, a little quick review since it's been a little while since we talked about Catholicism. Remember, Catholicism is a portion of Christianity. So the Catholic Church follows Christianity, monotheism, the belief in one God, belief that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and an incarnation of God. Christians and Catholics believe in life after death or a resurrection. The New Testament contains accounts of the lives and teachings of Jesus as well as the writings of early Christians. And then Christian doctrines are going to be established by early church councils. Now, you'll remember from Unit 7 we talked about a split within the Christian church. Our first division, which occurs where you end up with the Roman Catholic Church on one side and the Eastern Orthodox Church in the other. Okay, specifically Roman Catholic churches. In them, the clergy or priesthood are not allowed to get married. They don't believe in divorce, and then they don't use idols for worship like Orthodox Christians do. Okay, so what we're going to look at in this video is what's going to lead to the rise of church power. Now remember, again, the Units 7, 8, and 9 guys are talking about in that time period from 500 to 1000. So right after the fall of the Roman Empire. So we've talked about what happens in the Middle East with the Muslims during that time period. We've talked about the Byzantine Empire in Eastern Europe at that time period. And now we're going to talk about Western Europe. The biggest factor that leads to the rise of church power in the West is the fall of the Roman Empire. Okay, if you remember, the church had become the only institution with the political and social organization necessary to exert power and unify Europe. Okay, remember when Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire late in the 300s, late in the Roman Empire, everyone in the empire converts. And at that time, the empire was not just Italy. It was all of France, all of Spain, part of Germany, Greece, part of Britain. So when the empire falls in those areas, the only thing that's left behind by the Roman Empire is the Christian church. You still have churches, monks, priests, and all of the organization that the church has are still present in all of those places, even though the Roman Empire is not. Okay, people are going to continue practicing their faith despite the fact the empire is not there. So as you guys can remember there, you got the Catholic Church primarily on the left, and then the Eastern Orthodox Church is the blue over there to the east, and again, that is going to be the Byzantine Empire. All right. And again, as we talk about it, as you can see the Roman Empire at its height there on the left, how it occupies all of that territory in Western Europe, and then the Byzantine Empire around the time of the official Great Schism, as you can see, is not involved in that portion of Europe in any way, shape, or form. So it has no impact. There is no empire in the West. So as the Roman Empire falls, we're going to have secular authority decline and the power of the church is going to increase. When you see the word secular, that means worldly. So with the decline of worldly authority, with the disappearance of the Roman Empire and the powers and unified kings and whatnot, the power of the church is going to increase. High-level church officials are going to start to be coming from noble families, so the church is going to have ties to ruling classes locally. So if I am the Baron of Bristow, and I kind of run this area, one of my sons might become the Bishop of Bristow. So then now I have a tie, I have relationships with the church, and the church has a relationship with my family and can exert some kind of control over me. And the Pope is going to have more property and wealth than any king in Europe at this time period. So the kings have to cooperate with the Pope. For those of you who don't know, the largest landowning corporation in the world in the year 2016 is still the Roman Catholic Church. Owns more land than any corporation around the world. Okay, so in this time period, the Pope was the wealthiest person in Western Europe. He could use that wealth to put pressure on local kings. Think of it as the Pope is the big person in charge, and then you've got this small little area here, this small little portion of France here that has a king, and the Pope can tell that king what to do. All right? Church and education. So we're going to have monasteries founded during this time period. And what you'll find there, guys, and a couple of things you need to know are monks and nuns are going to live in monasteries or convents. I believe there actually is one on Linton Hall Road, a convent where you'll see nuns. And monks live there and study. Mendicants or friars are going to live by begging and spreading the word. So they move from town to town. If you guys think of Robin Hood, you think of Friar Tuck, okay, carrying stuff around. Okay, our monasteries are important because they're the third way that we're talking about right now about how Greco-Roman cultural achievements are preserved. We've already said that the Byzantines preserve them in their libraries, the Muslims translate it to Arabic and preserve it in their universities and their houses of knowledge, and the monasteries that crop up throughout Western Europe during this time period, which we would otherwise refer to as the Dark Ages, are going to preserve these teachings, okay? So monasteries are also going to house schools that teaches the sons of nobles Latin and Greek texts. Okay, missionaries are going to carry Latin alphabet and Christianity to Germanic tribes. So you're going to have the spread of the Latin alphabet throughout this area by missionaries. You have the sons of rich nobles. Sorry, daughters, just the sons. Okay, the sons of rich nobles are going to be going to these monasteries to learn Latin and Greek texts from monks. This is the foundations of what we become known as Catholic schools or Catholic colleges throughout Europe. Okay. A couple examples here of European churches. Now Charlemagne, and we'll come back to Charlemagne in a little more detail here later on. Charlemagne is going to become king of the Franks in the year 771. Okay, he's going to reunite a large chunk of Western Europe. He's going to have most of France, a decent chunk of Germany under his empire. He is going to spread Christianity throughout this region, oftentimes forcing conversion. So he's made Christianity the official religion of the Frankish Empire, and to be a person who lives in the Frankish Empire, you have to be Christian. And then he's going to also see a lot of monasteries set up schools to train future priests. Now, Charlemagne, and we'll again get back into this, is actually crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope in the year 800 CE. And that's going to lead to a little Frankish Renaissance here, a little mini Renaissance, and that's what we'll talk about in a later video. But what you need to know is that Charlemagne's an important person. He helps spread Christianity throughout this area and this region and helps the impact of the church. Medieval culture is going to come to be during this time period. And what medieval culture is a blending, and you have to think about the influences were there. Okay, classical Roman culture is an influence because these areas were under the rule of the Roman Empire for a while. You're also going to have Christian beliefs increasingly influenced by the Catholic Church. All of these people are Christian, and the Catholic Church is growing in power during this time period. And then you're going to have customs of Germanic tribes. Okay, so as the Christians are spreading, as the Catholic Church is growing and converting new people, some church doctrines will be adopted from Germanic tribes. So medieval culture is a blending of all three of those things: classical Roman culture, Roman Catholic culture, and then the customs of Germanic tribes. All right, and then the organization of the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church is a very strict hierarchy, which allows it to interact with different people on different levels. You have the Pope as the head of the church in Rome. He is seen as God's representative on earth, not quite on the level of like a saint, or definitely not on the level of Jesus, but he's seen as the holiest person on the planet, okay, and the representative of God for the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, the Cardinals are not a baseball team in St. Louis or a football team in Arizona. The Cardinals are the group of people who help the Pope run the church. The vast majority of them spend most of their time in Vatican City. They help the Pope with the day-to-day running of the church. The Cardinals are also where we pick our next Pope from. So usually when the Pope dies, Pope Benedict chose to retire, when Pope Francis was chosen, he was originally a cardinal, and then he gets elected from amongst the cardinals to become the Pope. And we could get into long detail about the ritual for that, where they lock the cardinals in a room basically until they can decide, and then when they decide, they puff white smoke up the chimney. It's actually kind of interesting. The news people have a lot of fun. So that's the head of the church located at the Vatican. Locally, in different regions, you have a bishop, okay? And a bishop is in charge of an area. So like here in Northern Virginia, where we are in Prince William County, we are still part of the Archdiocese of Arlington. So our bishop is the Bishop of Arlington, okay? And he is the bishop for all of the churches in this area. He's the head of the church locally. And then on the lowest level here is we have priests. Priests serve religious and social needs of the people. So the priests are interacting with your day-to-day people in common, celebrating sacraments, baptizing kids, marrying people, hearing confession. That is the priest's job, is day-to-day to interact with the commoners. The bishop is primarily going to be interacting with the important people in the area. So you have all of these different levels of organization with the Roman Catholic Church, which actually are going to help it spread more quickly, because at the same time, and you'll see we'll use this exact same chart later on when we talk about feudal society, Europe is going to fall into a society at this point in time that has an almost identical social class structure. So the fact that the two of them are basically the same helps the church grow in power during this time period. And that's it for this set of notes.